Welcome back to Weekly Neurology Deep Dive. This week we're going to be looking at a new study in The Lancet. It's about the effectiveness of exenatide for Parkinson's.
And just a reminder, of course,
Of
this is
course.
just for education.
Yes, education only.
No commercial goal or anything like that.
We'll just be giving a high-level overview
Definitely make sure to check out the full paper.
for all the details.
Yes,
So the paper is, it's a long one.
they always are.
Exenatide once a week versus placebo as a potential disease-modifying treatment for people with Parkinson's disease in the UK. A Phase 3, multicentre, double-blind, parallel group, randomized, placebo-controlled trial.
That's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. So essentially what they're looking at is whether exenatide, which is commonly used,
For type 2 diabetes?
right, could slow down the progression of Parkinson's disease.
And there was a lot of excitement around this study, actually.
Oh, really?
There was, yeah, because preclinical studies and even smaller clinical trials showed that GLP-1 receptor agonists.
Which is what exenatide is.
Exactly, that's the category it falls into. They showed that those might have neuroprotective effects.
So this large-scale Phase 3 trial.
Everyone was hoping it would confirm those initial positive findings.
I see. So let's get into the study's design. Who do they look at? Who are these patients?
So they involved 194 participants. They all had moderate severity Parkinson's disease, and they were all in the UK.
UK only.
UK only, yep. And it was a double-blind, placebo-controlled trial.
Of course.
The gold standard, right? To minimize bias and make sure we get good results.
So to be in the study, what were the requirements to be included?
So they had to be between 25 and 80 years old.
Okay.
They had to be diagnosed with Parkinson's, meeting the Queen Square Brain Bank criteria.
And they had to be at home and YAR stage 2.5 or less.
While on dopaminergic treatment.
So their Parkinson's couldn't be too advanced.
Correct. And they had to have been on that dopaminergic treatment for at least 4 weeks before they enrolled.
So already being treated.
Yes, and able to give themselves the injections.
Oh, self-administer.
That's right.
Interesting. What about exclusion criteria?
So if anyone was suspected of having another cause for their Parkinsonism,
They were out.
they were out, and if they couldn't attend those clinic visits off their usual Parkinson's medication.
They couldn't be included, right. Okay. So what were they looking at? What was the primary outcome they were tracking?
So they focused on the MDS-UPDRS Part 3 score.
Which is?
It's a measure of how severe motor symptoms are in Parkinson's,
Okay.
specifically after 96 weeks off medication.
Off meaning.
So they wouldn't be on their dopaminergic medication for a certain time period before that assessment.
I see.
They wanted to see how the score changed, you know?
So basically after a year and a half of treatment,
Right.
did they see a difference in that score between the exenatide group and the placebo group?
Unfortunately, the results weren't what we were hoping for.
Oh, no.
There was no statistically significant benefit of exenatide on the progression of those motor symptoms.
Okay, what was the data they saw?
The MDS-UPDRS Part 3 scores got worse.
For both?
In both groups. The exenatide group, their score got worse by an average of 5.7 points.
Okay.
And the placebo group, theirs got worse by 4.5 points.
So not that much of a difference.
Only 1.2 points.
Not very promising.
Not really. And the p-value was 0.47.
Not statistically significant.
Nope. So based on this trial, there's no evidence to support exenatide as a disease-modifying treatment.
So that's the bad news.
That's the bad news.
What about good news? Was it safe? Was it tolerable? What did the study say about that?
Well, that's one good thing, at least. Exenatide was generally safe and well tolerated.
Any side effects?
Some people had some increases in serum amylase. It was temporary, though.
Okay.
But importantly, there were no cases of pancreatitis.
Clinically confirmed.
That's right.
Good. Now, one thing I thought was really interesting
Yeah.
was the weight loss, the difference in weight loss between this trial and the previous one, the smaller trial, that had those positive results. What was going on there?
So in this trial, the bigger one,
Yeah.
there was less weight loss in the exenatide group compared to the earlier, smaller trial, which makes you wonder, did enough of the drug even reach the brain?
Interesting. So maybe there's a connection between the weight loss and how well the treatment could work? Like more weight loss means more drug is getting where it needs to do.
Yeah, that's what it makes you think about. Like, is there a link there between that weight loss and how much of the drug is actually hitting that target in the brain? And then ultimately, how effective the treatment could be.
So much more research needed to unpack that.
Absolutely. We've got to figure that out.
It's a puzzle, but an important one.
Very important if we want to use this type of drug effectively. So while this study, it didn't really give us the results we were hoping for.
Yeah.
It's important to remember that research into these GLP-1 receptor agonists in Parkinson's, that's not over. Not at all.
No, of course not.
There were some limitations in the study that might explain why we didn't see a benefit.
For Exenatide specifically.
Right, right.
So what kind of limitations? What should we be aware of as neurologists?
Well, first of all, they only looked at patients with moderate severity Parkinson's disease.
And they were all in the UK.
And they were all in the UK, exactly. So,
These findings
yeah, these findings might not
apply to.
Yeah, they might not apply to people with really early Parkinson's
Right.
or very advanced Parkinson's or even people from different countries.
Different backgrounds.
Yeah, different backgrounds.
So the specific populations studied really matters.
It really does. You know, another limitation is that they only looked at Exenatide at one dose and frequency,
Which was?
2 milligrams once a week.
So maybe a different dose.
Maybe.
Or more frequent administration could have given different results.
It's possible, yeah. Think back to the weight loss.
Yeah.
The fact that we saw less weight loss in this trial
Compared to that.
than the previous one,
The previous one.
it could suggest that maybe not enough of the drug got to the brain.
So if you had a higher dose
Uh-huh.
and it led to more weight loss,
Right.
that could be a sign that more of the drug is getting where it needs to be.
Exactly. It's something we need to look into more.
What other limitations?
So they also pointed out that they didn't really check if the blinding, if that stayed successful throughout the whole trial.
Meaning?
So they didn't specifically measure if the participants or the researchers could guess who was getting the drug and who was getting the placebo.
So it's possible that some unblinding happened
Could have happened, which could have affected the results in some way.
without us realizing,
Yeah, and they also mentioned the misdiagnosis rate for Parkinson's.
right?
Most of the participants who had cerebrospinal fluid collected, they met the criteria for isonuclein seed amplification assay positivity,
Okay.
but not everyone had that test.
So there's a chance that some
A
participants
small number, maybe.
might have been misdiagnosed.
Yeah, which could skew the results a little.
It highlights how important accurate diagnosis is.
Absolutely crucial, especially for research. So I think now we need to talk about where we go from here.
The future.
Yeah, the future. You know, this trial might not have given us what we wanted, but it gives us some clues.
Where should research focus now? What are some promising directions?
Well, one really interesting area is finding better ways to get the drug into the brain.
It's a challenge.
It is, yeah. But some researchers are looking into using nanoparticles.
Nanoparticles, interesting.
Yeah, to encapsulate the drug and help it cross the blood-brain barrier.
So basically protecting the drug until it gets where it needs to go.
Exactly.
I like that. What else?
Another idea is creating new versions of these GLP-1 receptor agonists.
New versions.
Yeah, that are better at getting into the brain.
How would they do that?
They could tweak the drug structure, or maybe use completely new delivery systems.
Like we're redesigning the whole delivery truck.
Yeah, something like that. And of course, we need to keep studying different doses and frequencies.
Right, like we were talking about before.
Yeah, maybe higher doses or more frequent injections could work better.
If they're safe.
Of course, safety first.
And that whole connection between weight loss and how well the drug works, we can't forget about that either.
Right, we need to figure out if there are any biomarkers.
Biomarkers.
Yeah, things we can measure
Oh, I see.
that can tell us who's likely to respond to treatment.
That would be amazing. Like personalized medicine.
Exactly. And speaking of personalized medicine, maybe GLP-1 receptor agonists only work for certain types of Parkinson's patients?
Interesting.
That's something we need to investigate. Like maybe people with specific genetic mutations or metabolic profiles, maybe they're the ones who would really benefit.
It's all about finding the right treatment for the right person.
That's the goal. And then there's the big question, the really exciting one.
Which is?
Can these drugs prevent Parkinson's from even starting?
Whoa. Whoa.
Think about it. What if we could identify people who are at risk and start treatment early, like before they even have motor symptoms?
Slow it down or even stop it completely.
That's the dream.
That's incredible.
It is incredible, but we need a lot more research to know if it's possible and if it's safe.
So I know this study wasn't the big win we were hoping for,
Yeah,
but it does lay the groundwork
I think so.
for future research,
It definitely gives us a lot of data and it gets people talking about how hard it is to develop drugs.
especially for something as complex as Parkinson's.
It really is complex. You know, we've had a lot of good discussion today.
Very insightful.
Lots to think about.
Lots to think about. So much to think about. For neurologists like us who are seeing patients every day, what are the key takeaways from this study?
I think the biggest takeaway is that this study doesn't support using Exenatide to slow down Parkinson's.
So we have to be careful about prescribing it off-label for that reason.
At least for now, yes. We just don't have the evidence from this trial to support that.
Does this mean we should just give up on GLP-1 receptor agonists altogether for Parkinson's?
No, I don't think so. It's important to remember this was just one study.
With one drug.
Yes, one specific drug at a specific dose and frequency.
And we talked about those limitations in the study design.
Exactly. So it's possible that other GLP-1 receptor agonists may be given in a different way or at a different dose.
Might actually be helpful.
That's right. We have to keep researching. And we have to stay updated on what's happening in this field.
What advice would you give to neurologists then, based on all this?
Be really thoughtful about which patients might benefit.
Patient selection is key.
It is, because even though the study didn't show a benefit overall, there might be some groups of patients who would respond to Exenatide.
Or other GLP-1 receptor agonists.
Right, so think about the individual.
So personalized medicine.
Exactly. Take into account their age, their disease stage, their metabolic profile, even their genetics. All of that can play a role in how they might respond.
And I think it's important to be upfront with patients, too.
Oh, absolutely. We have to manage expectations. There's no cure for Parkinson's yet.
We have to be honest about where the research is at.
And focus on what we can do now.
Which is?
Managing their symptoms, helping them have the best quality of life possible, using the tools and the treatments we already have.
So this study, maybe it wasn't the big breakthrough we were all hoping for.
Yeah.
But it does help us move forward.
It does. It gives us a lot to think about. It reminds us how complex drug development really is.
Especially for a condition like Parkinson's.
Absolutely.
This has been a fascinating look at this Exenatide study and what it means for us. I hope everyone listening found it helpful. Remember to stay curious, keep learning, and we'll see you next week for another weekly neurology deep dive.